Thank you so much for the warm words, Alessia. We appreciate it every year. And thank you for staying with us while people are having lunch already. Coming back to a little bit more human and terrestrial challenges than the panel before us, we are speaking about one of the largest markets in the world for Medtech, which is the German market, and it's the third after the US and China globally. So we have, as Alessia mentioned, we have two outstanding entrepreneurs who created global market-leading companies from Germany to the world. And also we have Klaus, who used to be a CEO of Siemens and of other global operating businesses. He's a true veteran of the healthcare sector, and I'm very happy to have you all here. Klaus flew in from Riyadh just last night to be with us, and also Stefan is on a tight travel schedule, as well as Torsten. So it's a true honor to have everybody here in the room with you. Yeah, I think... As we just described, we have a significant share of the global medtech market coming from Germany, and we want to explore today what are the reasons why those two outstanding entrepreneurs started their businesses here. Stefan told me it would be a very short panel because I was born here, and this is basically the reason why I did it. But I think there are some more reasons behind this entrepreneurial journey. And to kick off the session, my question would go to Torsten and also to Stefan. What do you think were the relevant factors of the German ecosystem that were allowing you to succeed in this quite challenging, competitive global market with AI diagnostics nowadays, and also for Brainlab after you?
Well, thank you so much, Sebastian. So we left the university 20 years ago, and this was a problem that the university, where I was there 20 years, was not able to grow with us, and we saw the unmet needs that leukemia diagnostics will have more and more needs to be diagnosed. Patients will be treated better, patients have to be followed, and therefore, without the option to grow, and this is not possible inside the university, space is limited and money is limited, it wouldn't work. And so we went out of the university just across the road here in Munich and started the MLL 20 years ago. And now we grew from 29 employees to 370 employees over the last 20 years and serve for some of the diagnostic cases more than 80% of all German patients, and globally pharma trials and many, many research trials as well. And why is this possible here? It is possible because we have the infrastructure in Germany. If we try to avoid any problem that we still have with digitalization, we can put it in our own hands, we can do it, and this is what we did. And therefore we implemented from the first day everything without paper in the lab. All is automated. You see some of the machines on the back, and we started with AI already 2017. That was quite early for Medtech companies. We include these AI processes now in daily routine before finally technicians and doctors and scientists work to write the reports and send them out to patients, because we still every day have only one goal: serve patients best. And if we want to do this, we can use all these techniques.
Stefan.
Well, you already mentioned that I just started the company because I didn't know any better. And, here's where I was born. And in fact, 35 years ago, it was a pretty bizarre idea to start a company based on software, while a neurosurgeon, for example, wasn't a good neurosurgeon if he or she needed software. Today, it's the opposite, that you're not a good neurosurgeon if you do certain procedures without software. So fortunately for Brainlab, times have changed. And also, if we go back 35 years ago, who were the first customers of Brainlab? Not in Germany, but in South Africa, in Taiwan, in North America. So we had to be a global organization. It was at the time when there wasn't venture capital. I didn't even know the term. So the first loans came from the local savings bank. And I had to personally guarantee for the loans, and with up to 80 times of my annual net salary. So if you compare that to Medtech in Germany today, it's a very dramatic difference. But it also shows what you can accomplish even with limited resources. However, the future of any medtech company is going to be driven by software. There won't be a meaningful product that is not going to generate tons of data. And maybe because we started from software, we're the only truly digital medtech company that has really everything connected in a cohesive customer experience where data flows from one step to the next. So what now is the benefit of Germany, or why Germany? I would say it's maybe the toughest market when it comes to using data. And this is because of the GDPR. As a European, I'm proud of the GDPR because it really represents our values. And you could say that if you even in Germany create a solution that leverages data across different platforms, different users, make patients part of their journey, and if you manage to do it in Germany, then that can develop into a European solution and eventually a global solution. And so it's actually probably not even for a French company going to be so easy to implement a data concept or platform in Germany, but eventually a German company could figure that out. So as we have done with your business. And and then of course we have like pretty good hospitals. And if we digitize surgery, well, I think we need to digitize high quality. And Germany as a location could never succeed in the quantity of data. So we have to succeed in the quality of data. And so that starts with quality of medical care.
We're going to cover the data aspect in a minute. Maybe, Klaus, you turned from a German CEO overseeing Siemens for quite some years into a global citizen. You're now based in New York City. Can you maybe elaborate on your change of perspective also from the last years living abroad, looking at the German medtech market and what you see as an advantage, but also as a challenge?
Well, to be honest, the medtech market and many of the markets I've worked in have always been international, because you would not be able to survive in it, if you wouldn't have, in this case, in the medtech, the US market is essential. If you don't break through in the US market, you don't break through, period, So I think what we see here, I think Torsten and Stefan are a little bit too modest, I think, because in a way, you have set a standard, what you have done. You said it before, the neurosurgeons were convinced that they are even better than heart surgeons, and it's the beauty of their hands, and then you came with stuff that you say software, but it was a combination of software and hardware, and surgical planning and integrating diagnostic data, where even the most intelligent neurosurgeon would say, I cannot ignore this, So same thing for the diagnostic side. And in a way, when you said, well, we've done it here in Europe, and you jokingly said it's the worst market when it comes to data, it reminds me of the German saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So there's a reason why this is a German saying, so because in honesty, but what in a way, if you think about, is this the best environment? And the answer is no, because a lot of people get killed in this process, and there are a lot of great ideas, the best thing that happens to some great ideas that don't survive here is they get sucked in by the US, because the US has created these natural honeypots for talent. And in the end, it's all about people. It's simply all about people. It's about how well educated they are, how much they see, how risk-taking they are, and then on the risk-taking side, you also get the financing side into it. But it starts and ends with talent and the way you build a team together, And we have to say that Munich, in a way, is a bit of a paradise, I would say, in Germany, because here, thanks to individuals like Professor Hermann, had this vision long time ago to turn the university TU around into an international university again and attract the talent, but we don't see that in other places, and build also a healthcare environment. I think we've also been lucky that with Siemens and Siemens Healthineers here, they had created an ecosystem which everybody could benefit from. But in the end, the real question is, if we want to scale this, how do we make sure that we have talent here, which I'm convinced we do, that we give them the opportunities, financing is one, but at the same time, give them other opportunities so that they can flourish. And they have to have a perspective on the global market. That has always been the trick of Mittelstand. Mittelstand would never, there's no Mittelstands company that doesn't, you said it also, to be be number one in Germany is nothing. In all of these markets, you have to be worldwide number one, period, you know? And you can probably survive if you're number two, but if you're number three, you're already toast.
So coming to what you are saying, that all of the SME Mittelstand businesses, basically in the Medtech sector, which are more than 90% of the whole German Medtech market, they are run by family-owned businesses or founder-owned businesses. All of them are exporting more than 2/3 of what they are producing to the world. So it's a global business. And Stefan, coming to the aspect of competition, you are operating in 6,700 out of 7,000 relevant hospitals globally. How do you perceive competition nowadays? How do you think will that also drive your aspect in tackling those markets, and how will it change in the future?
Well, you know, I think in healthcare, the challenge was always, can you provide better treatments, and can you do that at a lower cost? And mostly in the past, you have been not only necessarily competing with other players that had maybe a somewhat similar technology, but mostly for budgets and that are limited. But I think we're just about to face a completely different challenge, because 30% of the hospital staff in Germany is going to retire in the next 10 years. So the system essentially will crash. And it's just like a matter of how we can soften the impact. And so therefore, the challenge will be not how can we do treatments better and cheaper, but how can we provide medical treatments that meet the expectations of patients at all with the limited resources that there are. And while digital transformation was always something that was perceived nice to have, it's going to become a brutal necessity. Yeah. So, and there's just no way out. So the idea of just going and like, let's steal some nurses from Poland and some physicians from India, etc., is not going to work anymore, because it's a global challenge. And there's in those emerging markets, it's basically a developing middle class that also will demand a better healthcare. So I think the medtech industry hasn't yet switched or adopted to that. They are still thinking in just terms of old markets and the old economy, and maybe they didn't have their Tesla moment yet, to use the reference to the car industry. So to think in digital platforms and leverage automation, etc., is basically what the huge opportunity is. And so I think that's really where I think Germany is actually still an interesting place to start that. And I also think that there's actually also, it's a good test market. So that makes Germany even a much more relevant, even target market for us now.
And I think when modesty was the topic a couple of minutes ago when you started, Klaus, of the two panelists here, again, you're doing 80% of the diagnosis in leukemia in Germany, I think.
Right.
Torsten, how is AI and also automation just allowing for the growing amount of cancer patients in the next, let's say, 5 years, 10 years? How is that going to be tackled from your point of view?
Without that, we wouldn't even be able to handle what we do right now. So since this morning, we had 700 patients referred with their blood and bone marrow to the laboratory, and they all have the question diagnosis, leukemia, or yes or no. So that's really, really life problematic. And therefore, we have to be very quick, very reliable, and we have to know what we do. And this can't be done only with personnel. It has to be done by software, by data, and by algorithms. And what we do right now is we support our daily routine by all these algorithms that we build up on our own, because I cannot buy them. They are not there. It's a very small market. But what we can do, and the next step is, if we have these algorithms run, and there are other laboratories that just do the wet lab part, the machines only, then these algorithms by cloud can help them to read out their data, as you also organize with your software the other laboratories or the other surgeries. And therefore, what we are doing right now is to step up for the next step, put these tools into FDA approvable software tools, and then we can offer this not only to us, but to us in other places or to other laboratories in other places in the world. And this is where we build right now, from this island of Munich to others to be used. And the data is there, we have the data.
So Klaus, you said it's basically all about the people. It's all about talent. And you see a lot of startups, scale-ups, also very sizable companies in the US. What do you think needs Germany in terms of talent also to really adapt to those challenges in the future, given the AI limitation of engineers?
I mean, when we spoke the other day and I was in the Middle East and looking down from my hotel room late at night, and I was reflecting on the generation of the people who are in power now, you know, the fathers of all of them, if you ask them, what was your dream, where would you go to study, almost 80% would have said Germany, get an engineering or medical degree in Germany and speak German, you know, and that's basically the qualification all around the world. Let's face it, that has dramatically changed, because if you ask this generation now, they would say, I want to go to Stanford or to MIT, period. And if I then don't get into those, I have a few other American institutions that I want to go to. Let's face it. That's where we are. So I think in the end, we have to get better in winning the war on talent. I think we still are very good. But in the end, the question is, what does that mean for people like the two that are sitting here? You know, do you fight the fight here, or do you also say, hey, I'm going to also set up shop in other places, you know, and basically nurture on honeypots that others have set up? Because the challenge that's ahead, software has been around, you know, for a while. I mean, I think of on the medical diagnostics side, you know, software was there since 30 years, you know. But now it enters the phase of AI, and that is a different ball game. I mean, when you talk about large language models, not only do you need massive amounts of data, you know, but you also need massive amounts of extremely good scientists to fight the war, because you suddenly are competing with people that are not in your industry, that are purely in the IT industry. I mean, just look at industries that have just been killed, you know. I mean, the very fact that the last chemistry Nobel laureates are people who don't even know how to spell chemistry, and they won it because of the unfolding of the protein structure by Google DeepMind, you know, like Demis Hazamis. He is in Europe, so it's not a game that only can be won in the US, you know, but he's now owned by Google, and he has access to top talent, you know. So it's all about how do you tap into this, how do you win it, and how do you win it in the next level, which is AI, and it's also the enabling factors of AI, which is semiconductors.
So how is Brainlab attracting those great minds? You have 2,500 people now globally in numerous offices around the globe, but still you have a very strong headquarter culture also in Munich. So how are you attracting those people from all around the globe?
Well, I think a globalization has to come from within from within inside. So even in Munich, we have people from over 80 different countries. We speak over 50 languages. The company language is English. There's actually a number of people that have been here for a while. They, you know, still at Brainlab only speak English. And so when we have customers from China, from Brazil, from wherever, we have people like really from those countries. So we really feel like a completely, you know, global organization. And this is also how we get essentially the right talent. It's people from different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, but also different education. And so for innovation, the issue is the solution always coexists with the problem, and you just need an expansion of your horizon to discover the solution that's always there. And so that requires just like a very diverse workforce, and we really, I think, find that from a cultural point of view here. But we actually do have a number of different R&D positions in Israel, in the United States. But over time, when maybe somebody quits in the US, we very often replace them through somebody here, because we get an engineer at the same quality for half the cost. And so from that point of view, overall, maybe Munich isn't really all that bad, and we have a tremendous cost benefit over some of a number of other competitors. And but that makes us really very suited to the global market. And so because of this global footprint, we also get the ideas from everywhere. In Japan, 90 of the 96 university hospitals, 92 are Brainlab customers. So whoever and wherever in the world there's a new idea, a new trend in neurosurgery, they come to us first almost by default. And so therefore, ideas, technologies, all of that is already global. And so you can be a global company out of Munich.
Yeah, because you have been able, you are the honeypot, basically. Yeah. Because you are dominant in this field, you develop the field. So people who are in this field will say, that's the place I want to go to. And we have Munich as a decent place because Munich has developed in a very attractive place, you know, so that works. That works as long as somebody is there like you who focuses on that and as long as you stay on top. The real question is when it comes to AI, you are not competing in the same world. You are now competing with the Googles of this world, you know, and the data scientist doesn't care whether they work with data scientists on diagnostics or on brain. They just care about developing the next model, you know. So there the competition environment is very different, very different. And then it comes also down to financial incentives. You know, you basically give these folks packages that are insane. You know, and here I see in Munich in the startup scene, we do the same. This is really competitive. It's not across the board in Germany, not at all, not at all. I mean, you don't even have to go to Berlin to see the big.
But we also compete with data, and you mentioned a few times large language models, etc. And ultimately, I think the challenge in medicine is everybody is looking for the quick win. It's a land grab, and let's just get like a bunch of data and use what's in the public domain and use generative AI doesn't work because the quality of the data isn't really good enough. And sometimes if you even mine all the literature that's out there, still you have too many errors and too much distortion. And so creating a true medical foundation model from curated and validated data, that's key. And I think we need to also focus on structured data. And I think that at the end, you could say that maybe German physicians are a little bit more, I would say, anal retentive, and that's a benefit because they're going to be a bit more careful in how you structure the data, etc. And if you can capture that in then a really structured way, then that will contribute to, you know, also I see in 5 or 10 years from now, Germany and Munich as the place to be as a medtech company.
I think that's possible, but the other question is, I agree, that's possible, but the other question is when you think of rules-based systems, you know, we just saw another complete disaster on rules-based systems with the whole automotive industry trying to do an automated driving on rules-based systems. Elon Musk coming because he gathered the data and basically flipped it around and did a complete data system, which is a third less code and substantially better, and he's rolled it out, and I think most of the folks in the automotive industry will say rules-based systems don't work anymore. But you are right, as long as you cannot get data that are enough that to build a larger system, you know, but the question is how long will it take?
Yeah, but Medtech is super lame.
Yeah, it's very lazy.
I know that we have a discussion going on.
That's a great thing. Let's keep it lame.
We have to be time cautious because everybody's running for the lunch break now. So I think closing remarks, it would be interesting, Torsten, to hear your thoughts. Last year you said you're positive that in the near future, cancer can be cured through AI to a certain extent. What is your near future wish for German ecosystem of medtech, but also for what you are specialized in, the leukemia diagnostics?
Well, I'm completely even more positive than last year because I now have more experience in the lab. We have the data, we have them cured since 20 years. I'm a doctor. I have my patients every day, so I really know what I'm doing for whom and why. And we have that control, we have the data, we have clear, good data. And with all these algorithms that are now available, including cloud infrastructure for all the calculations, and the team that is, half of them is English speaking. That's good for us. I like those people in the lab. We can do this, and therefore I'm absolutely positive that all these data and all these AI algorithms and the team also here in Germany with all these rules and all this stuff that Germany is very good with can make a difference, and therefore I'm absolutely positive we can make a difference from here out.
Great. Maybe one sentence on the future of the digital surgery?
Will be bright, and you know, today is the best time to get a serious disease. Because because the outlook has never been better, and there isn't such a thing like the good old times.
No.
So
Same in leukemia. Diagnostics and treatment much better than 5 or 10 years ago.
We stay future positive. Thank you very much, everybody.